Let's be honest. If you're a seasoned pro who's just lost a job, you're not alone, but it feels incredibly isolating. It's tough, it's unsettling, and when you're over 40, the stakes just feel higher. So today, we're going to lay out a clear, practical strategy to navigate this whole thing. The goal isn't just to get through it, but to frame it so you get back in the game, maybe even stronger than before. All right, let's get into it.
Take a look at this number. That's 240,000, and that's just tech workers laid off in 2024. And that's not even counting finance or media or all the other sectors. We're talking well over 1 million experienced professionals who are in the exact same boat as you. So this isn't some kind of personal failure, right? This is a market event. But knowing that doesn't make it any easier to explain to a stranger in an interview.
And this is what's so scary. These questions, this is the little voice of unconscious bias in the back of a hiring manager's head. When they see a resume gap from someone with 20+ years of experience, this is what they're really thinking, even if they never say it out loud. Our whole job today is to give you the playbook to shut that voice down before it even gets started.
To do that, first, we've got to get clear. Not all job departures are the same. A huge company layoff is a totally different story than getting fired. And that's different again from being, managed out. Each one needs its own specific strategy.
So what's the biggest mistake you can make? Trying to hide it. Don't. Just don't. Recruiters can see gaps, they do reference checks, the truth has a funny way of coming out, and trust me, the cover-up is always worse than whatever happened. The only way through this is with honesty and a really smart strategic story.
So here are the 3 big ones. The mass layoff, that's the easiest one, but you still got to explain it. Then you have individual termination. That's the one that's the most emotionally charged, for sure. And finally, the forced resignation. That super murky gray area that needs a crystal clear neutral story. We're going to break down how to handle each one, starting with the very first thing a recruiter sees.
Okay, part 1, your resume. You have to think of your resume as a marketing brochure. Seriously, its only job is to get you in the door for an interview. It is not, and I repeat, not a legal document or some kind of confession. And that difference is everything. So, if you were part of a big layoff, your strategy is super simple. Add a little bit of factual context. You just want to answer the why right away so the recruiter doesn't even have to wonder. It's clean, it's efficient, and it lets them move on to your actual qualifications.
And here is exactly how you do it. These phrases are perfect. You can literally copy and paste them. In one little line, you've explained the whole situation. It just screams, "This wasn't about me, it was a business decision, story told, next."
Now for the toughest one, getting fired. The rule here is absolute, it is non-negotiable. You do not mention it on your resume, period. Your resume is a highlight reel. It is the best of your best. The conversation about how it ended, that happens face-to-face in the interview, not on a piece of paper.
And just look at this example. The numbers do all the talking, don't they? You delivered results, that's a hard fact, and it's a powerful one that has nothing to do with how your job ended. Let your achievements define the role for you. And for that messy middle ground, the forced resignation, you actually borrow a little bit from the layoff playbook. You just provide a tiny bit of neutral context. Just enough to frame the story so people don't make up their own negative version.
This phrase, it's gold. It's factual, it's totally professional, and it gives a logical reason for why you might have left, without getting into any of the drama. It implies a change in direction, which makes your exit seem completely understandable.
Okay, so you did it. Your killer resume got you the interview. Awesome. But now comes that moment, the one you've probably been dreading, when they lean in and ask, "So, what happened at your last job?" This is where your story really comes to life. And this right here, this is your secret weapon, the 60-second framework. It's a super simple, 4-step structure that helps you answer that question honestly, quickly, and in a way that pivots the conversation right back to the future. Let's see how it works for each scenario.
For a layoff, it's pretty straightforward. You acknowledge it, you give the context, my division was cut, you share one quick thing you learned, and then you immediately pivot to what you want to do in this job. See, it's brief, it's factual, and it's all about looking forward.
Now for a termination. The tone changes a bit. You acknowledge it ended, and you own that there was a misalignment. Notice you're not blaming anyone. The key part is the learning. It shows you're self-aware. Then you pivot directly to why you're a better fit for their company's culture. That is an incredibly powerful move.
And for that forced resignation, you frame it as a moment of professional clarity. The leadership change made you realize what you really need to be successful. And Here's the pivot. That's exactly what this new job offers. You've just turned a potential negative into a proactive, positive career choice. You're taking control of the narrative.
All right, so the next challenge is the gap itself, right? That empty space on the resume can trigger all those biases we talked about earlier. But a gap that's filled strategically, that tells a story of initiative, of growth, and of resilience.
So here are 6 really powerful ways to fill that space. You could do some consulting or project work, maybe even pro bono for a nonprofit, just to keep your skills fresh. Or, hey, you could finally get that certification you've been putting off. You could even list something like intentional career exploration and then briefly describe your research process. The whole point is to replace that question mark with a statement of purpose. You are active, not just waiting around.
Okay, that was a lot of strategy. So let's turn this into action. Like, what do you do tomorrow? Here is your roadmap for the first 30 days after you've left a job.
This timeline just gives you some structure and a sense of control. Week 1 is all about processing what happened and documenting your wins. Get those numbers down before you forget. Week 2, you build your tools, your new resume, your new story. Week 3, you fire up your network. And by week 4, you're building real momentum, applying for roles and tracking what works. It's a clear plan to get you moving forward.
So if you only remember one thing from all of this, let it be this mindset shift. A layoff, getting fired, whatever it is, it's a career disruption. It's a market event that happened to you. It is not a final verdict on your skills, your value, or your entire career. What really matters is how you frame it.
And that framing is absolutely everything. Your resume has to tell a story about where you're going, not just where you've been. And for experienced pros, it's so important to make sure that story doesn't have any accidental red flags. And that's where a tool like Pass the Scan can be a lifesaver. It's designed specifically to analyze your resume and make sure your narrative is as clear and compelling as possible.
So ultimately, this is the question, isn't it? Your career story has a new, totally unexpected chapter. But here's the thing, you're the one holding the pen now. You have the tools, you have the framework. The power to write this next chapter is completely and totally yours.